Hello, my name, ladies and gentlemen, is Prince Ty, and I was right on Michelle last season, so I am back for another season of Prince Ty's Power Rankings with Edgic. We're going to start off with the Millennials by virtue of the fact that they won the challenge, so I bitch about them first. Number 10, with a middle of the road N2, is Jessica Figge. We know that she likes men, particularly pretty men. We know that the nerds do not like her because she is pretty and making obvious alliances. She is a sitting duck. She is dead the moment that they lose. At number 9, I have Jay at OTTN2, over the top -2. Basically, he was a little bit more caricaturesque with his whole I freaking love you guys right in front of Hannah. He's an idiot. He's toast. At number 8, I have Michaela at Under the Radar 1. She briefly mentioned something about the weather, I think. Her facial expressions were far more interesting than her thoughts. And I don't think that bodes well for her. Thus, the low ranking this week at number 8. At number 7, I have poor man's version of Fabio himself. Taylor, I had him at over the top 3. I feel like we saw enough of him to not feel super negative about him, despite him being in the Idiot Alliance. I do think he'll be around to a swap and could have some function as a meat shield that maybe goes as far. I don't think he'll win like Fabio. I think he's already been presented as too much of an idiot. Then again, Fabio did win a season of Survivor, so who knows? The point is, potential, he's slightly higher. Number 6, I have Michelle. I have hers Under the Radar 2. She had one brief confessional about how she thinks she'll be able to talk to people. She is lumped in with the pretty group, but has the best chances of getting away from the pretty group. Thus, I have her slightly ahead of the others. Number 5, I have Will. I view him as middle of the road 2 for this episode. I think he's going to be the boring narrational voice of that tribe. He'll mention being young now and again. Basically, he commented on Gen X versus Millennials and the Storm. When there was non-interesting things to talk about, they brought him in because he's not going to have much depth, so I only have him middle of the pack. Number 4, I have Zeke. I think Zeke is our big character of the season, much like Ty from Khao Rung. I have him as over-the-top +4 because despite the fact that he was actually kind of bitchy in his early confessionals, I do feel overall that we're supposed to like him, we're supposed to care about him coming into his comfort zone as the de facto leader that builds the shelter. I think he's going to have legs. He talked a lot, so we're supposed to care about him. Overall, OTTP4, right outside of contender range because he's such a big character and will be such a big threat, I feel. At number 3, I have my dark horse to win it all, and also my pick'em choice, because he was who was left available. Adam. I think Adam was the voice of reason this episode. They made sure to point out his opinion that maybe they should be building a shelter instead of playing in the beach. He seems like the practical youth. I feel like he has good chances of, molding well with the Gen X people when they inevitably mix up together in a tribal swap or what have you. I have him as middle of the road 3. I think he's in solid position. At number 2, I have Mari. I think I pronounced that right. By the end of the season, I'll get it right. She is your head bitch in charge. She is CP4 for the round. You saw her thoughts. She constructed, or at least began to construct, the nerd herd, or the freaks and geeks. And she will be running that tribe for the duration of the time that it exists. I do have some fears of her being like screwed in a swap or something like that because she's such a big character, which is why I don't have her as number 1. For once, I agree with Colin. I have Hannah as number 1 upon my rewatch of the Millennials this week. She's observational. We saw her observations. We know that she is smart, and she is not as big of a target as Mari, so she's nestled up nicely. She has all the smarts, the less target. These are the people who do well. Hannah's going to do very well. Those are my thoughts on the Millennials.